This conference will now be recorded.
Can you see the slide?
Yes.
Okay, so good afternoon, and today's session is communication skills for businesses, and we'll be doing learning outcome 4 today. My name's Shazia Khan, which is learning outcome 4 is to be able to present oral information effectively. What we're going to do is look at a summary of what we did yesterday as well. So we looked at yesterday a little bit of the difference between what a team is and what a group of people are, and why it's so effective that we work in a team. We looked at the work team models, and we looked at formal teams, which we had vertical, horizontal, and special purposes. We also looked at the different types of self-directed team elements, teams in the workplace. We looked at virtual teams, global teams. We also looked at the challenges of virtual teams, the different characteristics of teams. Do you remember how many members can be in a team, Sumit?
12 or more there was, and
Yeah, variations from 5 to
the one
12.
was from, yeah.
Yeah, ideally is to be about 7. And then we looked at the different roles within a team, the diversity and socially emotional role support. We also looked at the characteristics of a team. We looked at the different stages of team development. So, like adjourning, performing, norming, storming, and
Storming.
forming. Sorry?
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
different developments. Yeah, we also looked at the team structure. Why is it important to have a team structure, Sumit?
Uh,
If you have a team structure, uh, how do you know which is a manager? You know, a
yeah.
structure is important,
That who is
where
the
there's,
employer and who is employee.
yeah, who's an employer, who's an employee, but also who's a manager and who's a
Yeah.
salesperson, an example. We
Yeah.
looked at the development of team norms. We also looked at the conflicts, in a team, what they have. Also, the different models of styles to handle conflicts, unassertiveness, cooperative. We also looked at guidelines for helping managers facilitate communication. We looked at non-verbal communication. Now, what's non-verbal communication? What could be
That
non-verbal communication?
that is based on body language
Yeah,
and is having listening. There is no
yeah.
writing. That is not in a written form.
Pictures, pictures and symbols and physical
Yeah.
appearance. Um, and we
Tone
also
of
looked at
voice.
the body language. Yes,
Yeah.
body language is really important. Why is it really important?
Facial expression is also in that.
Yeah. Why is that so important? Facial expression.
Through eye contact is a must,
Yeah.
because through eye contact we can convey many messages. Sometimes we are
Yes, you
angry,
can. Yeah.
so our eyes can also be like that.
Yeah. So different ways of conveying messages. Body language is different, isn't it? So we looked at the global impact, cultural
Hmm.
aspects such as language, religion, value. Why is body language so important in regards to different cultures?
In body language, we having like handshake.
Yes,
If we give a
handshake, but
strong
sometimes
handshake, and
in
in
some
sometimes,
cultures they don't like handshaking, do they?
yeah, yeah,
In some
and in some countries that
cultures, like,
is,
yeah, that's offensive,
mm,
handshaking, especially of a woman.
yeah.
We looked at the impact of technology on oral and written communication, the importance of technology. We also looked at voicemails for incoming calls, voicemails for when leaving a voice message. Um, and we looked at things like, guidelines for emails, why emails are so important, also the issue of the purpose of writing as well. Why must you write something? The different types of grammar review clauses, the different
Yeah,
types of
pronoun.
grammar to use, pronoun. What else do you have? You have adjective, nouns,
Yeah,
verbs. It's important to understand your grammar and your punctuation. Why is it important to have a good sentence structure and to proofread and things like that? Why is it so important?
that we can get a message that is that
Yeah,
what a
that you
sender
can
is
get
going to
a
say.
message. Yeah, you can get messages across, and the person who's dealing with the messages is able to understand what the messages are saying. We also looked at how to write business letters and things. Now we're going to be
Yeah.
looking at communication skills for businesses, learning outcome 4, which is to be able to present oral information effectively.
Okay.
Okay, so the key terminology we're going to look at is what is oral presentation. So an oral presentation is a short talk on a set topic given to a tutorial or a group of people, like a seminar. An oral presentation, one or more students give a talk to a tutorial group and present views on a topic based on their readings or research. The rest of the group then joins in on a discussion. Why is oral presentations good to use in a business?
It is a short talk,
Yeah,
not
just
as in a short messages.
it's a message, it's short messages, but does it help the individual understand things a little bit better?
Yeah. No, just it can be as a overview type.
Yeah, do some people prefer oral presentations?
Yes.
Some people prefer oral presentations, some people prefer oral presentations as well as written presentations. So it's like a public speaking, isn't it? And it consists of individuals and a group of people who address an audience on a particular topic. What
Yes.
kind of topics could it be? Could it be like business brands, if you're trying to sell a new brand or something?
Yes.
Could it be on if you are trying to sell a different brand or anything? It's quite important to do oral presentations because you want to get your brand out there, maybe as a business. You want to get your brand and sell it to the audience.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is an oral presentation? So, the presentation techniques, there needs to be certain techniques, voice techniques, the use of visuals, body language, the use of cards, and linking. An oral presentation is generally a speech or vocal performance, occasionally accompanied by visually based presentations such as slideshow. An oral presentation is where you show your knowledge on a particular subject. You might be able to choose your subject, or maybe you have given something to research and talk about. So, give me an example of an oral presentation that you could do.
Visually based presentation
Yeah. So, a
is like
presentation
our.
object. Sorry, what was that, Sumit?
I was saying that that is like our lecture just in a slide forms.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Objectives of oral communication. An example, a presentation. Objectives of oral presentation: select appropriate points of emphasis in your presentation, develop a useful level of detail, choose and prepare appropriate visual aids, and create a tone that is sensitive to your audience's circumstances. So you need to determine the purpose, you need to analyze the audience, you need to adapt the message and gather information. And it helps you create ideas when students come up with creative slides to illustrate their talk. And the whole point of presentation aids makes a much interesting talk, doesn't it? And the creation develops students' confidence as well.
Yeah.
Design an oral 4.1. You design an oral presentation for a specified audience. For this task, you are required to prepare a PowerPoint Prezi presentation. The target audience is going to be colleagues or your tutor. You choose a topic area related to your area of work. Some presentation ideas are health and safety briefing, personal development plan, presentation on your key achievements of 2019, or presentation on planning a trip. And this will be part of your assessment when we look at it next week as well, okay?
Okay.
4.2, present complex information orally using technology. It's difficult enough getting people to listen these days, but when you're trying to impart complex information, it's like trying to get a 2-year-old to understand the data on a graph. Or reading a bar chart. What is complex information? Basic information is signs, symbols, or dates. For example, a green exit sign on a door. Complex information is more than one sentence of written or printed standard size text. For example, your home may be at risk if you do not keep up with repayments on your mortgage or any other debt secured on it. Complex information today can be presented using various forms, especially using information technologies. For example, charts, facts, and complex data or big data. Why do you think sometimes people use data and figures to identify things?
That is clear. Then
Sorry, what
increase
is
and
it? Yeah, so it's clear, isn't it? So it's
yeah.
also, try to they work around, you know, trying to identify, the importance of maybe if they're talking about something, they try to say this is good or whether it's bad, so they look at both
Mm,
sides of it. Some ways
yeah.
to present complex information: being concise, learning to tell stories, understand your audience, illustrate with examples, show causes or effects, compare and contrast. So there you have a graph, an example of a graph is there, and it identifies, how store A did in January to December, and then how store B did from January to December. So it identifies the scale of how the impact on it. Then we've got sorting and filtering, and then we've got here is a way of monitoring maybe your medical records, things like blood pressure or maybe your diabetes. So these are the areas that people look at in regards to it.
Okay.
Assess 4.3, assess effectiveness of your own communication. So you need to know how to track and record your progress on the use of communication skills. Try to assess the overall quality of your written and oral work and the way you produce your work. So to help you critically reflect on how you have used and adapted your communication skills, you may need to actively to seek feedback from others to help you make a judgment on your performance and to support your own work. So these are some you conduct a communication audit. So can you see on the side, this is like a feedback sheet, and I requested the feedback about my communicational skills from my friends, and the summary of which is like, for example, the first one, someone that assesses name, their body language was average, their tone of voice was good, their delivery of the voice was good, their facial expression was average, and their use of ICT was good. And then we've got the other one, which was someone called Sakib Imtiaz Kiani, and that was looking at the body language, which is average, the tone of work was good, the delivery of voice was good, and the facial expression was average, and the use of IT was good. So this is a handout which is on Moodle to um, to do a communication audit. Why do you think it's important to do a communication audit?
The person will get his weak points and good
Yeah,
points.
yeah. The person will get the weak points and the good points. And why do you think they need to use the good points and the weak points? Why do you think someone needs to
He
identify
may
that
work
they've
on it.
got good points and weak points? They may what, sorry?
On weak points, he will work. On weak points, he will
Yeah,
work
could they,
more to get a expert.
yeah, they could develop on them and improve their skills, can't they?
Yeah,
So if you've got weak points and strong
yeah, they
points,
will
these
work.
will develop and improve their skills. So, for everyone has strengths and weaknesses. So if you're able to identify if you're weak or average or
Yes,
an expert in a certain area, if you're weak, it will help your personal development get better. You could do more to improve. For example, if your tone of voice is average, you could try to maybe do practice presentations and try to improve your tone of voice, so then when you do another session your tone of voice is better. So it
yes.
makes you improve your skills and makes you a better at doing the presentations. So for
Mm.
D1, adapt and use own oral communication for different specified audiences and purposes. Once you've analyzed your audience, how do you use this information? So why is it important to analyze your audience? Why do you think it's important? If you are, for example, if you, again, Coca-Cola, if you are trying to do Coca-Cola with cherry or with orange, you're trying to introduce a new brand of Coca-Cola, why is it
Mm.
important that you analyze who your audience is?
To show them,
Would you just,
to
sorry,
present
go on, Sumit. Yeah,
them, to
would you
present.
just, how would you aim to um go for older people or for more younger people if you're trying to sell a soft drink?
More younger people.
Younger people. Why would you do that, Sumit?
They will be more energetic than older one,
Yes, yes.
and will have
So
a good
you would
stamina
be
too.
you yes, yes, that's true, yes. And you would be analyzing that audience, wouldn't you? You would be focusing your oral skills on that audience and trying to get that audience to, buy the brand or the drink.
Yes.
So provide the right information. Add information readers need need to understand your document. Omit information from your readers do not need. So, make the information clear. Don't put too much in it because some young people don't want to understand too much. Change the level of information you currently have to meet person. You add examples to help readers understand. So, for example, if you're selling a brand, you need to add examples so the reader is able to understand what you are saying. Use
Yes.
typography and work with margins, line length, line spacing, type size, and type style because it's important. Everybody learns differently. So if you're able to, cater for your audience, you're able to present that audience and bring that audience towards you rather than, pushing them away because that's your audience. You are there to attract your audience.
Mm.
Guide your reader through your writing. So change the organization of your information. Strengthen transitions. Write stronger introductions both for the whole document and for major sections. You need to be able to write a stronger introduction to make people attract more people. If you are writing an introduction about something, you want to attract people. Why do you want to attract more people?
Did they get an interest in a reading?
Yeah. to get them interested, to make them want to come and buy that, new flavored Coke with orange in, or the new flavored Coke with lemon, to get them interested in it and get them so that you grasp what they want as well. You are there to provide a strong introduction, and also you want people to stay, don't you? If you're doing an oral presentation, you want people to listen to you, don't you?
Yes.
You create topic sentences for paragraphs and paragraph groups. You change sentence style and the length. So if a sentence is too long, are people going to be interested?
No, they will become bored.
No, people will. Yeah, they will. Excellent. They will become bored. So they need something short, something they're able to, talk to you, something that they're able to demonstrate to you. For example, in my lectures, if I'm just presenting, it makes it boring. If I ask you questions and get you involved, it makes it interesting. Okay,
Yes, of course.
so you will be thinking more. So you have to have a style of doing things, and the style and the length as well is very interesting. Add and vary graphics. Now graphics are really important because some people like to learn with diagrams.
Yeah.
Not everybody likes to learn with words. Okay, people like to learn with diagrams. So the fact that you could maybe, for example, have a Coke bottle with a little lemon there, and you say that this is a lemon drink. Okay, the new lemon Coke. So you are able to, identify your brand or your product with graphics. Graphics are very important, and some people like pictures. They learn differently. We don't all learn the same, and that's really important in any organization, to differentiate. Differentiate is very important because everybody learns. We have visual learners, we have kinesthetic learners, we have different styles of teaching and different styles of learning. So it's really, really important that you're able to, bring something alive for that person. You break
Mm.
text up or consolidate text into meaningful, usable chunks. Like I said, no big, huge paragraphs that the learner is not able to understand. Meaningful, usable chunks that they're able to understand and grasps. So something quite catchy, something quite easy for the person to grasp.
Yeah.
Add cross references to important information. So when you're talking about information that's important, you will refer the person to something. So you may cross reference them to another source, or you may say you can find this information on coca-cola.uk, or you may say you can find this information on another website. So you cross reference people to important information that is needed. Okay, the main purpose, obviously, for oral presentations or any sort of presentation is that you're there to persuade, inform, inspire, and entertain the audience. The best speech is a combination of all four, but one should be the backbone. Oral presentation, the biggest advantage. What do you think the main advantage of oral presentations are?
To get our audience inspired and give them mm,
Yes.
strengths to run a organization.
Yes, but also, if you're doing a presentation and you want to attract your audience, do you want your audience to come back and keep buying the product?
Yes.
Yes. So you're going to attract your audience. So some advantages, okay? There is a high level of understanding and transparency in oral communications as it's interpersonal. What do you think that means? There's a high level of understanding and transparency in oral communication as it is interpersonal.
Didn't get you.
So do you think your audience is able to, if they're doing an oral presentation or oral communication, do you think your audience is able to understand clearly sometimes,
Yes.
rather than doing a meeting where you have to present the same thing? So oral presentation is that there's high level of interpersonal skills, and the person is able to understand what you are portraying. Okay.
Hmm. Yeah,
There's
okay.
no element of rigid in an oral presentation. There's no element of being rigid in oral presentations. Also, the feedback is spontaneous in oral communication. So, for example, an oral presentation could it lead to a discussion?
No, but it is a type of
No, but
discussion.
if you are doing an oral presentation, what are you trying to do? Who are you trying to attract?
Audience.
Your audience. So then, would you want, if they're discussing a brand, would you want them, if you are trying to, do an oral presentation, would you want them to discuss the brand?
Yes, if they have some
Yes, you
queries, so
would.
they can move towards discussion.
Yes, yes. So if there's any sort of questions or anything about the brand, there could be a
Yeah,
discussion around that,
yeah,
sometimes, you know, people will deliver their oral presentation through, some people are quite manuscript, which means reading off the script. Some people are quite passionate in impromptu, where they learn, with a lot of skill. But then you've got people that mesmerize stuff as well, memory, they have a memory of what they're doing. What do you think, to deliver um, a really good presentation, what do you think is good to you in regards to your body language and things like that? Do you think you should have really good eye contact?
yes.
Yes, to do any sort of oral presentation, you must have good eye contact, and you must make eye contact as well with the audience. You must use
And having
cue cards.
posture,
Sorry. What's that, Sumit? Sorry.
and having a good posture as well.
Posture is really important. Yes, posture. Use cue cards. These little cards that you use rather than having an A4 sheet of paper. Use your hands. Why is it important to use your hands?
To attract our audience.
Yes, excellent. To attract our audience, use your hands, speak clearly, and vary your voice. So, your voice needs to change in times, if you're talking about an area. And also, remember, it's a speech, not an essay. So, your whole point is to engage your audience. You need to engage your audience. You need to make the audience feel like that what you're saying is valuable, and you need to make them understand the importance of the product that you are trying to sell.
Yeah, okay.
There are, when you're looking at presentation, there are 5 P's of presentation, powerful presentation. So a strong presentation has 5 P's: planning, preparation, practice, performing, and passion. And these are the things that are used in some PowerPoint presentations to try and attract individuals. And if you're doing a presentation, must you be confident enough to speak in front of the audience?
Yes.
But why do you think confidence is so important?
Some people when move toward the stage, they become nervous
Yes, they
through
do.
confidence. Yeah.
I think every person becomes nervous, don't they? They get a bit,
Yes, of course.
yeah. I
Yes.
mean,
But if Mhm,
I've been teaching 16 years now, Summit, and
mhm.
I still, if I have to go into a new setting, I'm still a little bit nervous. If it's a
Yes,
new area and a new setting, then I'm still a little bit nervous. A couple of weeks ago, I had to give a presentation to lots of big organizations, and I was quite nervous. But
that is a nature.
I became, sorry?
I was saying that is the nature of human.
Yes, yes. Sometimes, you start to relax then. Once you start talking, you start to relax. But it is
Yeah.
the nature, like you said, it, it's the nature of trying to get others involved in your discussion as well. Sometimes people want to ask questions, and you know, sometimes when you're nervous, you go a presentation, but you should try to perform as calmly as possible, and
Mhm.
try to look at everyone, but maybe have your eye on one person and try to be confident that you are able to present your presentation, because body language is really important. um getting the audience involved, do you think that's important? Could you ask the
No,
audience
different
questions?
things.
Sorry, if you were
Yes,
doing a
through questions we
presentation.
can also gain our
Yes,
audience.
yeah, I think it's good, that you ask
Yeah.
people questions. You ask them about, maybe the brand. You ask them whether what they think about, the new product. And it's always good to get them involved, but sometimes it's difficult. So these are the one of the disadvantages, that is quite difficult to establish any sort of rapport with the audience. You may sound like you're reading aloud rather than speaking to an audience, but if you try to become more confident at the start and try to get people involved, then it kind of defeats the object that you are
We can,
trying to
mm,
do a good oral presentation. So you need to be getting people involved, and your audience. It's very, very important you get your audience involved.
yeah.
So good eye contact, good body language. Try to revise. As a speaker, try to revise your work. Try to think about what you're going to talk about. Use prompts, because prompts are really important. And identify that the message that you're getting out there is a clear and concise message, and you're engaging any sort of use of visual aids, maybe any sort of use of YouTube, or any sort of smart board, or audience interaction, or anything like that. So try to get your audience involved in asking them questions, asking them if they understand things. So it's really important in regards to that. So oral presentations are very important in any session. Oh, okay. So we've got your references here, which is
Yeah.
open open region, press books, technical writing, and then British Council, the Voices magazine, how to explain complex. So, have you got any questions, Sumit? I think let me just see, this is the end slide. Yes, we finished learning outcome 4, and then next week we'll be working on learning outcome 5, and then we've got the assignment discussion. So, have you
Yeah.
got any questions before we finish the session, Sumit?
No, no.
Okay, so next week we're doing learning outcome 5, and let me just have a look what learning outcome 5
Okay.
is. To, we're going to be looking at being able to communicate effectively in writing. So we'll be doing that next week, and then we're going to do the assignment area on the Saturday. Okay, so learning outcome 5 left, and
Okay.
assignment area. So if you've not got any, have you got any questions or anything before we finish?
No, ma'am.
Okay, then. So what I'll do, I will see you next week, Sumit. Okay.
Okay, right.
Okay. Have a nice week, Sumit. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.